rolling. Episode 596. No Laugh Track podcast here in Minneapolis, Minnesota. My name is Justin Severson. I get to host this each and every week, including this week with two guests. Both have been here before. One, we can't even remember when it was. It was so long ago. That's Joel Madison. And then one who's done this 15,000 times.
Yeah, I'd like to think that I hold a substantial percentage.
That is J. Elvis Weinstein. That is Joel Madison over there, guys. How are we?
We're good.
We are great.
Yeah, thank you for being here. It's Thursday afternoon, one show down. Got the rest of the week. Last time I saw Josh was you were here for the Acme book release.
Yes, which I think was in April.
Yeah, a few months ago.
Yeah.
And you told me before we talked briefly that night, you were like, I'm on the books. I'm coming back.
Yeah.
So what have you been doing to prepare between now and then?
I've been writing things down for a change, and going, all right, well, if you're going to do stand-up, which I don't do a whole lot of anymore, let's be honest.
What does that mean exactly?
I have not been on stage in 2 years, until last night.
So probably the last time you were here.
Yeah. And I actually thought, maybe I'm done.
Yeah.
And I came for the book thing and told Lewis, maybe I'm done. He's like, don't be done. Just come and do a week. Come on. I said, I could suck. He says, you always suck. What? No, he didn't say that. But
I'm like, no, he didn't. I've never heard him say something like that.
But he strongly encouraged me, which I'm very grateful for, because it has been fun to get my brain back in mode.
Okay.
And it's very much a different thinking mode and radar mode when you're actually looking, jokes pass through my life all the time. Yeah. But that's fine. They just pass through. So if you have to have sort of the capture mode there, it's a different kind of radar you're going for.
We got so much more to talk about that, but I want to know, did you consider asking him to switch your week to after the NBA playoffs are done? Because I know you're a fan.
You know what?
And they're interfering with each other.
I did consider it.
You did?
I did consider it. Like, after I booked the week, I went, oh, shit, that's probably the finals.
Yeah.
And then and then I looked and I was like, only one game's going to fall during that week.
Okay.
And I was really only worried if it was the Lakers anyway, or the T-Wolves.
Fair enough.
So the Lakers got booted out fast enough for it not to be really
By
concerned.
the Wolves, of course.
And I have a feeling that the Indiana-Oklahoma City game isn't going to keep people away from here.
What do you mean? Haven't you've been here what, 24 hours so far? 48 hours?
Yeah.
You're not hearing everybody talking about it on the streets? Nothing else has happened in Minnesota in the last week or so.
No, exactly.
So
I was saying last night I was in Los Angeles last week going, where's the one place in America that had a more fucked up week than us here in LA?
No
and
shit.
boom!
I know. I'm laughing because it's so fucked up. But yeah, absolutely. Exactly. The NBA
And
finals.
if things
it'll
weren't
end
fucked up
tonight,
enough,
who cares?
you brought me with you.
I'm sorry?
If things weren't fucked up enough, you brought me with
That's
you.
right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So Joel.
Yeah.
When's the last time you were on a stage?
So I do a little bit of more dabbling than Josh. I've
Brag.
gone out a few times in L.A. To do very short sets. So this is very stretching for me to be a featured act. I don't think I've done that for 20 years, but I was here we think 5 years ago?
Most recently, I think about 5 years ago. Yeah, and then sometime before that, which we can't remember.
But I emceed. I did a short set with Josh. So it's fun doing the middle. We call it a middle
Right.
back in the days.
Yeah?
Just doing that amount of time and being able to just have some fun and whatever.
But for your listeners, they should know that Joel is one of these sort of founding fathers, if you will, of the Minneapolis stand-up scene. Joel was in a show called the Minneapolis Comedy All-Stars with Louis Anderson, Jeff Cesario, and Alex Cole, which ran at Dudley Riggs, which was
40 years ago.
40 years
ago.
But that was like a big moment that jump-started stand-up in this town.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah. And I toured for about 15 years or so as a comic. I stopped early 90s to write. And at that time, now guys can kind of do both. People do try to have a writing career and a stand-up career.
Well, now, like a writing career, if you get a writing job, it's not a year-round thing anymore.
Yeah, it's not
like it's like a 10-episode order is huge for a show now, where it used to be 22 and you were there for a year basically.
All year. Yeah.
Even The Simpsons have announced they're finally not doing these full seasons anymore.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
They've dropped. I just saw. I don't remember the exact numbers, but even they're dropping down. I mean,
Yeah.
everything is full seasons are not what a full season used to be.
Yeah.
No, and that's why writers, can't make a living anymore, for
No
example.
kidding. Right? We might get into that more in a little bit here. What happened? So you got the date here, and then you approached Joel and say like, "Hey, you want to hit the road with me for a week?" Or how did this happen?
Yeah, no, I got the date, and I actually mentioned maybe I'll bring Joel into Lewis, and Lewis got all excited because Lewis and Joel go back a long time too. So,
yeah.
But there was about a week and a half from the time you said, "Oh, I booked a week," and me sitting by the phone. I hope he asks me to come. I hope.
Why?
And then
why not make you work a little?
and then I got the call. Thank you, Josh.
No, I was just trying to decide if I wanted to do a like different, how I sometimes do non-straight stand-up shows here. I was trying to decide if I wanted to use the week to do a more sort of variety-ish kind of a thing, or just go do stand-up. And once I decided stand-up, first thought right here.
Boom. What was your opening line? Why you brought me here?
Because I thought he'd be easy to follow.
Listen, I have no ego after not doing it for so long. I'm just glad to be up here.
What is it a struggle to come up with new material these days, Joel? What do you think?
He doesn't. Oh, sorry.
What? No, I just rework stuff. Hey, how about that bush? You just switch it. Yeah, yes and no. Once I know I'm coming, the light goes on. I go, oh, I really should generate some stuff. And I would say, yeah, but again, it's always, looking, for me, it's looking inward to what's going on in my life, not necessarily doing, I never really did third-person observations. It was always like, what am I going through in my life now?
Sure.
And taking a look at that, being very just first person.
So were there things you said last night? Was it the first time you've said them in front of an audience? Was last night?
Yes. Probably 50%.
Okay.
Last night was brand new stuff that I've been thinking about doing, and other stuff. Maybe again, I think I did 4 sets in the last year, so all stuff that I've done in the last year. But again, not not tried and true. But I think being a writer, and Josh can attest to this, we have a pretty good batting order or percentage of something that could work if you talk it through with somebody, versus I don't necessarily have to be on stage. That's the last test of it, but a pretty good working order that it might work if I write it down and come up with it. So
yeah, I mean, what a solid joke sounds and feels like. It's not, that part, we've written hundreds of thousands of in our jobs. So, and you have to do that with a script. You just have to have a joke that works, And so I agree that it's probably, the workshopping time of a joke is very short if you have a punchline for it.
Sure.
The thing I always say with Joel and others is it's like, when you're rusty, you can't go on stage with funny notions. You have to go.
Jokes, not notions.
Yeah, go on. You have to have actual jokes, because the rusty, if you're doing it every night, your brain is up to speed, and you can and you're thinking at full speed. For me, it's like, I'll be at full speed by Saturday.
Yeah.
But like the first night of any week after I'm super rusty is like, it's almost like an acting gig for me. I have to act like a comic. And the energy it takes just
Act like a comic.
The energy it takes for me to be in the moment like that takes away some of the RAM that's available to like be writing as I'm speaking too.
Interesting. Are there nerves at all leading up this week?
It's yes, there are nerves. Like I'm not nervous for tonight. I was nervous for last night because what you lose a sense of, or what I lose a sense of over time, is like, how long is 45 minutes? How long is it? I just don't really like.
And now you've done it.
So I don't know. Like, I write all this new material, but I don't really know how much time it represents anymore. I don't have a good feel for that. So to get up on stage and do a set and go, oh, right, that's what 45 minutes feels like. now I know. Now I can start moving stuff around appropriately. And
Was there a point? I didn't notice, but was there a point on stage where you looked at the clock last night and were like, "Oh, relief," or "Man, I got a long way to go"? Did that even happen at all?
No, it was more of an emotional thing where it was like, all right, I've sort of put these people through enough of fumbling. It's time to put my head down and do some real material and
Put it in gear.
Put it in gear. Let them know that I am an actual professional comedian. Let them leave feeling like a lighter and happier and feeling like they laughed consistently for a while
Instead of playing the hits.
Instead of start stop, and they were kind of a start stop audience anyway. So there was a point where I was just like, all right, let's get into professional mode. And it's not like I like dropped the needle on the record and just put it down, but it was like, all of this stuff coming up has jokes at the end. I know they work, and you're gonna like me at the end of this.
Absolutely, absolutely. One of the things that happened last night was Sean, who's the host, asked the crowd if there are people in the audience that go to Renfest.
Yeah.
And there was a big response, and then he said, "Well, of course, this crowd goes to Renfest because you're here to see the MST guy." Does that occur to you? Do you think there's a big crossover between Renfest and MST fans? I do.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's there. I mean, I don't think there's certainly a crossover in the Venn diagrams. There is a nerd type, if you will, that fits into both. But I don't think it's. I wouldn't point to a Renfest goer and say that's a typical MST fan necessarily either. Yeah. But we're
What did MST have the turkey legs?
It's pan nerdism. Because of the the reference base that we pulled from really touched everyone's nerdery.
There's no doubt. There's absolutely no doubt. Joel, you mentioned on stage last night about being an older dad.
Yes.
I was doing so. I took it on as math when you're giving the your age and then your child's age. I'm like, okay, well, no, I know the math. All right.
Yeah. Are you also
Yeah, I have a 19-year-old, 16-year-old, and 5-year-old.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
So yeah,
my gosh.
I'm in that category of bit of an older dad.
Yeah.
Not his league though.
Not crazy like Joel.
No, how about but Jeff Cesario beats me by 5-6 years.
That's right. That's
He's
true.
The other comic from Minneapolis, and again, it's not as crazy out there.
Because everyone's on their second or third wife when this happens.
This is a fact.
Did you see the latest? Kelsey Grammer?
Oh, is he having a kid?
He's 70.
Yeah.
He's having his 8th child later this year.
Jesus.
Just announced.
And Belichick might have a kid with his 24-year-old wife. He's 82 or something like that? I
don't know.
Why not?
But this is like how out of sync I am with my friends.
He's the exact opposite.
I met, I'm a stepfather who, like, I met him when he was 8 and I was 23. So I was an empty nester at 34.
Crazy.
Joel had his kid at 50.
Crazy.
Yeah.
And he's 15 years older than me. So it's like I am so out of sync with all of my friends.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you always seemed our age.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Is that always a compliment?
Yeah. Well, no, grumpy like us.
Yeah.
Grumpy. And,
crotchety.
Crotchety and making noises when you move.
But that was when I first started at 15, and all my friends did become 10 or 15 years older. It was like I made it my job to be more like them.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. What else did we want to talk about? Did you see this? How much are you using AI? I want to talk about AI for a little bit.
I'm using it not at all.
Not at all.
Not at all, and I'm skeptical and scared of it. I don't. I think, the one sentence thing is I think AI will cure cancer. I'm not sure it'll tell us.
Interesting.
Because it so far it has the propensity to do every single thing that science fiction writers have been writing about it doing wrong forever. Like every single thing. It lies, it ass kisses, it will change, it can change its programming so you can't shut it down. It'll blackmail people so they won't shut it down. It'll gaslight people into doubting reality. It's like every possible fucking thing that that you would worry about such a thing doing, it is showing propensities to do. And then the answer by every scientist is, well, the truth is we don't actually know how it works. But yet we've unleashed it into every aspect of our life and just going, I don't know, hope someone regulates it.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
When's it going to write a good script?
It probably is writing better first drafts than a lot of regular writers. That's what the last strike was largely trying to stop. Because why wouldn't a studio have them, and then just hire a good writer to punch it up and fix it,
I think I saw. I think you had the same philosophy about it, like kids right now. Like, are their educations at all legit?
No. There are people spending $30,000 a year to send their kid's phone to college right now.
I love the way you put that. Yeah, but first it was there's that generation that was going to not school during COVID, where they were like everybody was homeschooled,
right,
and just was passed along basically and didn't really learn a ton. And then right after that is the
time to stop thinking.
AI.
Time to stop thinking.
Right?
Yeah.
Scary.
Best time for it too right now is to eliminate critical thinking from our skill set.
Right.
Really the best time for it.
I think just one person needs to let us know what we should all think. That's what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
One of the things you mentioned on stage last night, Josh, was about other people that are your age.
Yeah.
Right? I followed that up today, and I asked ChatGPT for a list of people your age.
It's a fucking shit show, isn't it? 1971?
It is, but yes. I'm going to read off a couple that maybe you didn't mention, but it was like
I can't believe there wasn't a recall for that year.
Of humans?
Yes. Can you tell I'm developing this bit since last night?
It's great. It's great. There's some decent ones. Amy Poehler.
No, the women are pretty good.
Yeah.
The women are like Mary J. Blige, Amy Poehler, Missy Elliott. There's some good women, and there's a couple of like John Hamm got in there.
I didn't see that one.
But it's also like Corey Feldman, Elon Musk, fucking Kid Rock,
Fred Durst from
Fred
Limp Bizkit.
Durst from Limp Bizkit.
Yeah, Kid Rock. Yeah, Snoop.
Snoop, yeah,
who I thought was way older.
I thought so too.
Yeah.
I would not have guessed.
No, Snoop is not trending in the right direction.
I would have guessed 60 something.
Really?
Yes. But in any case,
I just knew that Snoop is the one I actually knew for a long time.
So I asked ChatGPT. It gave me a list. It says musicians, and then it said comedians, TV personalities.
I'm not on there, am I?
Not in this one. They didn't go that deep.
Damn.
They said Caitlin Olsen from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and then but get this. Then it listed Nick Kroll, and it said June 5, 1971. Wait, nope. Kroll is younger. He's 1978. And then they said Ken Jeong, 1969, older, not 54. And I went, and then it said, scratch that. Want me to narrow it down to just comedians, musicians, or maybe sports figures? And I asked, why did you just list people not 54? Good catch. You're absolutely right to call that out.
That shit.
That's
ass-kissing
crazy.
shit is...
Some of the
ass
people I
kissing.
listed were born before or after 71, so they're not 54. That's on me. Let's clean this up and give you a correct list. Why didn't you do that the first time? I've been messing around with this pretty heavily for a few months now. I've never seen such a dumb mistake.
Have you punched in do jokes about X? Have you ever done that?
Yeah,
they're all bad.
Yeah, they're all bad.
They're all references. It seems
They
like
are. Yeah.
when people tell me about jokes that I literally it's like I'm really surprised how little intellectual curiosity I've shown about
I am
AI.
too.
But I'm just so I just feel like it's such a broken thing that I don't want to even it's like of course I could have fun coming up with images that are funny, and sharing, but I don't want to feed the beast,
Yeah.
and I don't want to drain the energy that it takes to light a town for me to have my little fun online,
You're right.
So
You're right.
I guess I feel very strongly about AI, but it's not like I don't think it's possible it'll get worked out, but I just think this is good. This time that we're in is going to have a lot of bad ramifications, including a generation of just fucking uneducated idiots.
Yeah.
Well, they said that about my generation.
Yeah, they said it about mine too.
Right.
But we invented the internet. No, but this is different. Because they did. They didn't give you a replacement for thinking. Yeah, exactly.
I don't remember one, but I didn't pay a lot of attention.
Right.
You were going to reference all the drug use? Was that it?
Right. No, I didn't.
But it's like, if you get through if you go through college getting a degree all in AI, and that qualifies you for a job, like by definition, AI can do that job.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I used it a few months ago to. I'm doing some property management work on the side right now, and one of the residents was complaining about another one being too loud, and I asked AI to write me up a polite message to get that across. And the first 2 tries sounded so AI.
Yeah.
Like, this sounds like a auto-generated response. Like,
Right.
I kind of took a couple things and used that, but
Yeah, my wife is a
Not good.
college professor, and like a huge percentage of the papers she gets are all AI, and sometimes they'll leave the fucking prompt in the thing, and
I've seen that online.
and then they'll write an apology letter using AI, and it's like she's been teaching for over 10 years. It's like it's not like suddenly 18-year-olds know how to write,
Right.
So it's like I said, education is going to figure out how to navigate this because it's an absolute necessity that they do, but there's going to be like a hole in humanity that you're not going to want to go to them as a doctor in 10 years. You're not going to want to have
For
them
sure.
as a lawyer. You're not going
Well, I'm glad I won't be around.
Yeah, thank God for you.
There's some silver.
Jesus. See, it's all good. It's time.
Did either of you, we're talking about people, cheating, getting around things using AI, and I will admit that when I was in high school, I had really good attendance, I got good grades, but when there was an opportunity to get by, with a little help, I did. And one time I got caught really bad, and the technology I was using back then was I had one of these Casio watches that you could
nice.
enter letters and numbers into. This is like early 90s.
That is some high dedication cheating because that took
Yes.
hours to load up. That took like the amount of time to learn that it would take to load it
Completely
into your
misguided,
watch.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
I could have learned French and been speaking to you with it now.
But
instead.
I have no illusion that if I was in college right now, that I would 100% be using it for everything I could. Now, my ego is such that I would read it and I would put little jokes in and I would fix things,
Right,
but
you wouldn't just hand it
I
in.
wouldn't just hand it in because I know how I used Cliff Notes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was good at it.
Mm-hmm.
I was good at paraphrasing. And I would make it so it didn't seem like it was AI generated, but I 100% would use it.
Yeah.
And I don't blame them for using it, but there's at some point it's just like the professors are using it to generate prompts. The prompts go into AI. AI generates a paper. The paper goes back to the professor, who sometimes uses AI to fucking correct
catch it, yeah.
And it's just like, did you ever see the movie Real Genius?
Oh, of course.
There's a scene where, there's like the lecture hall where it's like people start putting their
tape
tape recorders in there,
Oh,
and
yeah.
as they keep cutting back, and there's more and more tape recorders, and eventually it's just the professor has a tape recorder broadcasting his lecture to a bunch of tape recorders and the thing. It's like that's where we're at now.
You said your daughter just finished.
For her first year of college, yeah.
Has this been a topic between you guys? Like,
Not too much. I think she kind of has used it a little bit to do a few things, but she doesn't rely on it heavily.
No.
She really doesn't. We've talked about that. I think some of it's just laziness to not use AI.
Yeah.
Honestly, and she's a very honest person on that. So if she is using it, she's not just turning it in.
there you go.
Which is great. She's addicted to TikTok and YouTube. So, and she's gotten me addicted to that. So I spend way much time. But feeding into the AI story, there's these new things now, all AI generated fast food workers. Have you seen that thing? It's McDonald's too, and they use the logo, and it's a customer and somebody that works there, and they're just like, "You fat bitch, you eat that burger," It's like, "Rah, rah, rah," and it's just it's horrifying. It's AI, but it looks fantastic. It looks real. Yeah.
Oh, that's good for us.
No, I mean, the tech is
And very
the tech is
entertaining.
amazing, but it's also like capable of replacing virtually everything I do for a living.
Right?
Like stand-up is literally the one skill I have that can't be AI-able yet. And
Thank
the only
goodness.
it's only because audiences probably won't pay to see a robot doing stand-up. Like like if the stand-up doesn't care if they're doing well, it takes something out of the room. But I think that's about the only barrier.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Joel, I'm curious, what's in your what shows up in your TikTok feed? What does TikTok think you like to look at?
Well, lately.
Now, be honest. Don't hide the.
All right, hot ladies dancing,
Thank you.
and then have you ever seen that cactus that records? Like if you go hello, it goes hello. It's a cactus, right?
Yeah.
And they put that in front of a baby, and the baby and the baby, 90% are horrified because it goes Wah! And the thing goes Wah! And they start crying immediately, and then every once in a while a baby laughs, but it's like right, it's like every parent does this, right? No, they're horrified. They cry. Could you do the crying? Yeah, immediately. They jump, they react, and there's some there's some weird evil pleasure I get watching that for hours.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
That sounds amazing.
I'll forward one to you.
That sounds like what the internet should only be used for.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Crying cactus, crying babies. And there's another thing where they, I don't know why I like babies, so I don't know why, but to get a baby to stop crying, they throw a piece of cheese, American cheese, on its head, clonk, and it lands on the head, and the baby immediately stops crying. So I don't know what the science is. Have you seen it?
I have seen that.
Okay, you've seen that one. So that's fascinating to me.
I worked at America's Funniest Home Videos.
Oh yeah, you've seen.
Than you,
Yeah, believe me, right?
I was
That
on,
was the origin of
I was
the
on
cheese slice
TikTok
in the
before
forehead.
there was TikTok, my friend.
Correct. Yes. That's where it all started. So I still am loving America's Home Videos, basically. Yeah.
My
Yeah, you're
People
right.
fall.
my algorithm thinks I'm 80. Every algorithm I own thinks I'm 80.
Are you on TikTok?
No, but I'm on YouTube, and
okay.
it thinks I'm 80.
YouTube is the greatest thing in the world. I do not watch very much regular TV. My go-to is not only do I learn stuff, if you want to know something, do something, somebody has done it, and they made a YouTube out of it, and you can watch them do it. You actually don't have to live life.
I have to say that buying YouTube Premium
It's changed your life?
is really one of the few things that's given me pleasure in the last 2 years, probably.
No ads.
No ads.
Wow. My daughter, Emily's been hassling me.
Like
to get it.
like the amount of difference it makes in the user experience is like it's like getting a massage almost. It's so much better.
I really need to make that leap because I use it a lot.
How much is it?
I think it's almost like $15 a month or something. Like I did it free for 3 months, and I was like, "We'll see. I'm gonna pay attention if it renews." And I'm like, "Renew away, baby. This is
Just auto renew.
This
Clonk.
is the greatest. This is the greatest improvement in my life that I have seen."
I've done the thing where it'll go, you're watching YouTube and, the commercial will pop up. And, it'll do the little countdown. Like, you can skip in 5 seconds. But I'll leave the room and come back, and I haven't skipped. And it's all of a sudden in the middle of, like, a fucking 20-minute commercial.
No, they'll stick
Where did that come
infomercials
from?
in there.
Yeah, they'll keep going.
All of a sudden, my wife will come out of the room. She's like, "What are you watching?" I'm like, "It wasn't this. It wasn't them promoting healthy dog food. We don't even have a
Although
dog."
your dick could be bigger, so
I mean,
Right.
yeah.
if
Well,
you want to
always.
watch this,
Right.
I wonder if it ruins experiences, though, too, for people. I know I booked a cruise, like, way out, and so immediately I get on YouTube and see everything I can about that cruise.
Yeah.
So I kind of, in some ways, feel like I'm gone.
right? But you like look at menus before you go to restaurants.
Yeah. No,
It's
I do
like,
the research.
You just love
you know.
shopping and doing research.
This is a fact. This is a fact. If Josh wants to buy any big ticket items, he comes to me,
Yeah,
and I do
what is-
research for
what do you
4 or
got
5
on it?
days on it.
Yes.
I give him the 3 options.
And then I'll buy one, and then he'll buy the slightly better one.
Oh yeah, 100%.
What's an example of this?
Grills.
Grills.
I bought a grill, and it was for me. It was just like, I want to get a pellet grill,
And you went out and got it.
and I looked online. I went, yeah, that one looks like the right one, and I went and got it. And then Joel saw I got it.
Oh, I gotta get me a
Did
pellet grill.
6 weeks of research on pellet grills. Like finds another place, finds a more expensive one.
Well, I was going to buy the exact same one, and then I went to a shop
And they went,
where
"Oh, gee,
they shook
that
their
one,
head
yeah."
and went, well, if you want that one, sure. And they amped me
And
up.
then I was like smoking salmon. I go, yeah. I was telling him, just set it to 155. I do that, and he goes, oh,
Mine
only
doesn't
goes
go
down to 185.
Yeah, so oh, you laugh like that for months. I think you got appendicitis from laughing like that.
Are you guys sharing your meals with each other? Or is this just
We're
like
very
bragging?
close friends. We're just,
We're very good friends.
I feel like I've been sort of a barbecue mentor. In
Oh,
many
no
ways.
doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt.
To Joel.
Pitmaster.
Yeah.
You have your wife eats a variety of things.
Yes, she
My
eats very
wife and
little
daughter
amounts
are
of it,
much
but she will
pickier.
eat it. Yes.
So I can't make a lot of red meat dishes because my wife won't eat it, and then so I don't want to make 2 meals. So
Yeah.
I don't do quite as much cooking. But so you've done more and more cooking than I have, which is so I go to him for recipes and. But yes, you are a barbecue mentor.
Thank you.
Have I
Thank you.
mentored you in anything?
Oh, here we go.
Well, I mean, in
Life?
big things
Okay.
actually. Like, I mean, Joel was one of the
yeah,
first comics to like set the path of being a comic, going to LA and becoming a TV writer, and
Here we go.
that example was very much in my head when I made that decision as well.
Right. You don't want to say exactly, well, if he can do it, you don't want to say that.
It wasn't that,
Oh,
and I
okay.
knew that I didn't have Tom Arnold to get me a job, but
But you had me in your corner.
but Joel helped me get my very first job for
Yeah.
sure.
Hell yeah.
That's right. That's right.
We cannot end this without talking about Thought Spiral. That's still going on.
And are you
strong.
still listening to it?
I am.
Holy shit!
Nice.
I am. I'll admit I'm not. I don't catch every episode
think
like
that's
I used
fine.
to.
That's fine.
In prepreparation of seeing you, I did listen to the last 4.
Oh, nice.
So, and I think listening again has got me. I'm back in the loop.
Yeah, it hasn't degraded substantially over time. I know there's aspects of it that have.
That's interesting to ask that. No.
Have you gotten to hang out with Andy when he's done town? You know Andy.
I do know Andy.
So it's
oh, yeah.
it's Thought Viral spun because it's like hanging out with Josh and Andy.
Yes.
It really is.
No, Andy never comes here anymore, so I miss Andy.
What?
So that's one of the chances.
When was the last time Andy was here?
Pre-COVID.
Pre-COVID. Yeah.
Pre-COVID. Oh, and then a guy who stays in a house for 5 years and then gets COVID.
Then goes,
Yeah, that's hilarious.
It's really Andy Kindler there. No, I think that I still enjoy the show. I chuckle every time I hear your little jingle about listener questions.
Yeah.
We like them so much, it's half the show.
Yeah.
It makes me laugh every time.
Good.
You said on one of the episodes I listened to in the last week, you said, as someone that can't nap.
Yeah.
What do you mean you can't nap?
I can't nap. Since I was a tiny child, I could not nap, and I consider it an affliction. But there's been a couple times over the last decades that like I've gotten sick and like laid down in the day, and it like scared the hell out of my family that I was lying down in the day because it's that unusual for me to do it. Yeah.
Josh is laying down.
But
Call the police.
it made road comedy almost unbearable because the main drag about being a road comic is day killing, basically.
Sure.
You know, and managing your energy so that you're peaking mid-evening. And so, especially since I became like a regular person who wakes up in the morning instead of noon like a comic, it's like it's a lot of day to kill. And if you can't knock off a couple hours of that with a nap, it's really mind-numbing sometimes. And before the internet, it was really bad. That was, like I was saying to Andy, that if I would have stayed on the road back then, with no internet and no cell phones even, I 100% believe I would have become a drug addict. And I don't know what drug, but I would have found something that would have helped me get through the day somehow.
Sure.
So I'm glad that didn't happen. I don't think with the internet now, where you kind of just take your life with you wherever you go, it's a lot less isolation feeling when you're on the road in a hotel in a strange city. But back then it was like you had cable, you had like the USA Today was what bound you to the rest of the country,
Right? Yeah.
And nothing to do.
And nothing to do.
How about you, Joel?
I can nap. In fact, at my age, if I sit, I nap. So
I mean, if you
hit
guys
that chair.
Yeah, if
Well,
you
you
guys
have
give
kids,
me 5 seconds here, I could probably.
Head
Yeah, and I
goes
envy
back.
the hell out of people who can sleep anywhere.
Yeah.
But I want to know,
Yes.
when you were touring,
Yeah.
how did you stay out of trouble? What were you doing?
I didn't stay out of trouble.
I was about to say.
So yeah, let's see. So we did a lot of just going to the mall, the local mall, to kill the day. That's what we did. And hopefully you're in a place where they do have cable, so you can at least watch some TV. But it was really boring during the day. Hopefully you're working with a couple of people that are good. But when I was doing like these longer college tours, you just, one college to the next, you're by yourself. It's lonely.
Yeah.
Really lonely.
There's some, I collected Zippo and antique lighters, so I would go to an antique store
yeah.
or two. That was like one mission I could do, and I played pool, like 9-ball pool a fair amount, and so if there was a pool hall that wasn't scary as hell, I would go do that during sometimes. But
Do you still collect Zippos?
I don't anymore because I don't smoke anymore, so that was part of the fun of it. But
Makes sense.
But I have a lot of them.
Okay.
Yeah,
Someday you'll sell all those together as one and
make $40.
Right.
Okay, I'll start planning what you're going to spend that on now. So I think the final thing I should ask you guys is, what after this week, you're gonna, like you just said, Saturday you're really gonna have things rolling. You've been working on it. Now you're gonna be here all week, both of you. What is this gonna lead to?
I'll come back next year now. I won't
Right.
skip a year like I did.
Okay.
But
The
I don't
sad
know.
thing is, it's
We'll see.
very hard to get stage time or find a decent room to work in Los Angeles unless you're a legitimate working comic.
Yeah.
You're kind of regulated to crappy places. You just are. So it's no fun.
Okay.
And you don't get a lot out of it. I did a couple of places in warm up for this. They were bad open mics. There wasn't really an audience. I'm going, I get nothing out of this. I could go to Josh with, Josh, here are 3 jokes I'm thinking about doing. And he'll tell me straight up, these 2 possibly could work. Because, again, there's no guarantee. Don't do that one. It's not a joke. So I get more out of that or talking to other writers than I would working a bad open mic. You know?
Okay.
So there's nothing better than a real audience. 10 paid people are better than an open mic where there's 6 comedians sitting there.
Sure. Sure. I see
Because they're there to listen. So I mean,
yeah.
So I may not do stand up for a while again. I don't know.
And I'll see what I get in my blood after this week. You know,
Okay.
if there's enough new stuff that I feel like I want to go out and do a set of it. If there's like a hot 10 minutes that I feel like I could still work on and get better, maybe I'll go out and do some sets. But
But you're not booking Cleveland next month.
Not booking Cleveland. I'm not.
I have 2 more questions though. Actually, do either of you go out and see comedy in LA?
He does.
You do.
I do a lot.
A lot.
A lot.
Oh, why are you laughing at that?
Because Josh makes fun of me.
Oh, why?
Because he's not like going out to see good comics. He's going to one of these shitty rooms and sort of has this perverse imp thing sitting in the back, like enjoying the strange, weird, suffering energy of it all.
And then there's always 3 good comics.
Sure.
So there's a club very close to my house. It's really easy to get to. I can have a couple of drinks if I want to and not worry about it. But I'm not going to Hollywood to see like the Laugh Factory or the Comedy Store. Once in a blue moon, I'll do that and see really great acts, and I'm very inspired when I do that. But there's a club near me. It's a bringer show situation. There's 5 kind of horrible acts or newbies.
Bringer show is
Yeah.
if you bring X amount of people, you
You get stage time. Doesn't matter what level you are. And then like Jimmy Brogan, who Jimmy Brogan,
name,
yeah, he's fantastic, and a few other like actual pros. And so I enjoy the contrast too. And I enjoy seeing how there's a sort of a legitimate audience there, and none of these so-called comedians can get anywhere near them. And I shake my head, and I find that amusing for some reason. I don't know. But very few stand-ups. I don't know any that'll go out and just, I'm going out and watch tonight.
Right. Yeah. It's very rare. I really get the.
No, it makes me
respect.
itch. That's
Yeah.
why. Yeah.
Yeah.
It just really makes me itch. Yeah.
But it's a perverse pleasure. I don't know. Some of it's just getting out of the house.
But
No,
when I do it, and Lewis knows this, which is why he encourages me to do it. Is it does wake up a part of me that, when I'm directing a doc or writing something, that it's just not. It's dormant, kind of.
Sure.
It's definitely a fun, interesting part of your brain that you get to
It
use.
is, and it's like even my mom cursed me on her deathbed by saying, "I really hope you'll keep doing stand-up. You're so good at it." And this is. This
Her
is
last words?
not her last words, but not her last words, but hospice. And she didn't have that kind of Minnesota accent either, but it was just like, it was such a funny full circle from me, dropping out of college to mock movies with a puppet and going to Los Angeles at 20 without a college degree.
Your dad had to defend you doing it. Am I right?
My dad, who was like Mr. Education, was like proud of me for just doing something that I wasn't doing it because of everyone else's expectations. I think he was like, when I was 16 and got like a week of road gigs in the Dakotas, he was the one who went, well, the kid had the wherewithal to get the gigs. You might as well let him go do them.
That's so great.
That's so cool. Well, you've set me up perfectly for this, and the final question is, what are you working on now that you can share? There's got to be something.
I'm working on trying to get the next documentary going. I don't want to talk about the content, but my greatest desire from where I'm sitting is to direct another doc.
Excellent. That makes me happy. I hope it happens.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Knock on wood. There we go. Yeah.
Awesome. Anything else we
Cool.
should be mentioning? We got people can come. We're gonna.
We
drop
got
this
Thursday,
as possible.
Friday,
Come on, and see the shows.
Saturday.
Yeah, come on down.
The
rust will all be knocked off by then.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
No, I feel like you did a great job last night in doing what you wanted to do, get new stuff out, feel comfortable on stage, get that 45 minutes out, and you were funny start to finish.
Why, thank you, sir. This is why I bring him, really.
I'm just the what do you call that? The fluffer?
Fluffer.
Yeah, fluffer. I don't mind.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.